Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Brooklyn. I am currently teaching first grade in Middle Tennessee. I have previously taught third grade and kindergarten and substitute taught. So today's video is all about lesson planning and how I personally lesson plan. It's a little different than what a lot of people have done, and this year is like the most different I've ever done it since starting teaching. So let's get into it. So I'm not gonna lie, honestly, I do not lesson plan that much because my team does it together. So when I taught third grade, me and one other teacher did math and science, and I actually looked into the curriculum maps, all that kind of stuff. When I taught kindergarten, I came in after a teacher was sick, so I actually didn't plan anything for kindergarten at all. I just came in and did what they told me to. But this year, teaching first grade, as a team, we decided that we would all take different parts. So there's someone who does our skills, there is someone that does knowledge, there is someone that does math. We do not do science or social studies anymore because that's what I was supposed to be over, but then we decided that we didn't have time in our curriculum, like our time to do it. So we've actually are able to meet our standards using our knowledge stories. So we don't actually do our science and social studies curriculum anymore. So me and one other teacher instead are in charge of our weekly readers that we send home for homework. So I honestly don't really have to plan anything. So this video isn't really like me deconstructing standards or anything like that. This is literally just me showing you once I get my lessons and the plans for my team, how I incorporate those into a classroom setting. So let's just break this down by how it happens. So usually on Sunday nights, sometimes on Saturdays or earlier in the week, but usually around as late as Sunday night, our one teammate will send out a Padlet, which if you don't know what Padlet is, I'll kind of like insert a video over here probably every now and then showing you what I'm talking about. But essentially on this Padlet, it is for our whole team. It has our plans for skills, knowledge, and math, as well as like our lunch schedule and everything, and related art schedule, any kind of special events, that kind of thing. But what happens is everyone sends their plans to this one teacher, and she creates this little Padlet for us all to use together so we can stay on the same lessons. And I just look, okay, on Monday for skills, this is the lesson I'm doing, and on there it will tell me what standards I'm hitting, what pages in my teacher book I'm hitting, what pages in their workbook if they're doing anything in the workbook, and it'll have listed any extra materials I need. So what I do for skills specifically is for skills, I look at that, and then we also get a PowerPoint. It's usually on Sunday nights, so I'll go and look through my PowerPoint as well and determine, okay, so even though this is what this teacher planned for this, say this teacher is doing chaining on individual whiteboards with kids, or let's say large letter chaining, where you have these huge letters and you like use kids and like move them around for chaining. So like, all right, we have a kid with a C, a kid with an A, and a kid with a T. So that's cat, show me bat, and you'd have the kids switch out. Personally, for me, that doesn't really work for my classroom, for my kids, and a few other teachers that doesn't either. So I would substitute with whiteboards where they write it on their whiteboard and hold it up, and I'm like, all right, so if that's cat, show me bat, and they erase the B and put a C. Or we've done like little note cards on their desk before too. So I kind of look at it that way and see if I need to change different things like that. But usually with skills, it's pretty straightforward. I look at the Padlet and the PowerPoint, I look at what I need, gather all those materials, and then the first month or so, we didn't do any readers because we were still like trying to get the kids used to our like classroom environments, but we have started readers. So usually what I like to do is to go on the Amplified, because we use not Read 360, we use CKLA. We use CKLA curriculum. So I like to go on the Amplify website, which is the CKLA website, and find the reader and play the story for the day. That way that I can hear it, make sure I'm pronouncing everything right, if we're reading it whole group, and then and honestly to read it to see if I think my kids are able to read it independently, or if they might need to do partner reading with someone who's a little higher and someone who's a little lower to help out that lower student. See if we need to read a whole group, if it's just not going to happen independently, and see if I need to tweak different things like that for my specific class. But honestly, a lot of times for skills, I just go through the PowerPoint, and sometimes, and I have a teacher book that I'll read that has a script. It's very scripted, so I'll kind of look through that and like put little italics and stuff beside certain parts of it, but mostly I don't even have to do that. So yeah, that's essentially how I plan for skills. Now let's go into knowledge. So knowledge, if you don't know, knowledge is essentially the like story that we read every day, like sort of like a reading story. So what I do for knowledge is, once again, I look at the Padlet, and we also have PowerPoints. So I'll look at both of those, look over, see what materials I need, that kind of thing. And then I will we have on our Padlet links to the stories on audio. And I honestly have played those a lot, especially this past month because I've been so sick. Anytime I talked for long periods of time, I was going into a coughing fit. That's why I didn't have that many videos up. But it was also affecting my teaching. So I would play the videos instead. And as with any video, you need to watch it fully through before you show it to your kids. I don't care if it is the curriculums video, you need to watch it fully through. So I will usually watch the video of the read aloud, or I will read it out of my book to prepare myself. And sometimes I've had to read it a few different times because, especially right now, we are going over early American civilizations. Some of the questions they are asking, like the comprehension questions afterwards that I have to ask out loud in my script, I don't even know the answers to after one read through. So I really have to reread it, make sure I know the answers to these questions, so that I can help kind of guide the kids to find the correct answer. And then also for knowledge, we don't have a workbook page every day. Sometimes we have a workbook page and it's great. Other days it's like, you have to have a sticky note and have them write a specific thing about the story on a sticky note. Or it might be you ask this group of kids to get a certain color piece of paper and they draw and write a sentence about the beginning of the story. This student, it's about this group of students, it's about the middle of the story and then the end. Or this one could be taking care of characters, this one's plot, this one's setting. So knowledge is really where I have to dive a little more in depth into my teacher's manual and see exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, because sometimes the PowerPoint won't tell me exactly. However, knowledge is broken up into two parts of the day. I have it for 30 minutes before recess, and then I have recess, lunch, and then I have to finish it up in about 30 minutes after lunch. But by the time we get back into the classroom and get settled down and ready, we only honestly have like 10 or 15 minutes. So I do feel like I rush knowledge a little bit, and so I'm very glad I've not gotten observed on it yet, because I'm still working on the timing of everything on it. But yeah, honestly with knowledge, it's just pre-reading that story or pre-listening to it, making sure I know all of the different parts of the story and the story elements, and the comprehension questions, making sure I understand that. Also for knowledge, we have a word work every day, which is a specific vocabulary word that we work on. And if I can, I like to do a little vocab word web where it's like the word is right here, up here they write the definition, over here they draw a picture using it, down here they write a sentence, and down here they write synonyms and antonyms. And I love adding that in because it's super helpful with their vocabulary. Sometimes we get to it, sometimes we don't. So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll time myself as I'm reading through, or just kind of like watch the clock while I'm reading through my lesson to see if I think we'll have time for that. And if I do have time for that, then I'll like to add in the materials for that. But yeah, honestly, I don't really have to plan it. Like I said, that's just kind of how I apply it after it's been planned for me. The last subject I teach that I have to do some planning for is math. Math is a little different. So I am actually a lesson behind my other colleagues in math because I purposely did that. I used 2 days for one lesson instead of just 1 day for one lesson at one point, because for my observation I chose math and I had a specific lesson I wanted to be observed on, but I could only be observed on a specific day. So I kind of had to move my curriculum, which ended up working out because my students ended up needing a little more help on that unit, so I used that extra day to help with that unit. But so what I'll usually do is I'll have to make sure I have last week's Padlet open to see what happened on Friday, and then Monday have the next week so I can look at it for the rest of the week. But essentially on the Padlet it will have, once again, the lesson name and number, what unit we're on, all that fun stuff, the I can statements if we have some, the standard, and then it'll say teacher book, show me where I'm at in my teacher book, and then student book, show me where I'm at. So what we do for our math is we start out every math day with a review page, which is called Daily Review, and it's on Savvis. I get on the website and literally I go to, okay, say we're on unit 6, lesson 4, I press unit 6, scroll down to lesson 4, and it has a drop down thing that comes out, and it has every single thing that I'm going to need, like every element for the day. So I'll click on the first one, which is the daily review. We go over 3 questions. I read them out loud, and so whenever I'm planning for this, I make sure and look at those. I make sure to see if it's over 10. If like it's over, the numbers go over 10, which they usually do, that means that I will need to have some other kind of manipulative or something, or a paper for them to draw on, because they only have 10 fingers, and a lot of mine need that visual help or that manipulative help. So I'll get out our blocks if we need them, or if we're going to use counters and 10 frames, that kind of thing. Or we also have number lines that we'll use sometimes. So just looking over the questions for our daily review, seeing what we need for those. And then after we're done with daily review, we move on to our solve and share, which is our first page in our workbook. It's one question with a huge space for them to work in. I read that aloud, they work on it together, and then we solve it as a class. And then the next thing they do is they turn the page, and there's 3 pages that's our like main classwork for the day. And that starts with a video that I play. And once again, even though it's a curriculum video and it's been like, you know, proofed and everything, I still watch it and interact with it before I show the kids, because you never know what's going to pop up, and you need to make sure that what you are presenting the kids is okay. So I will usually watch our visual learning, make sure make sure that it's okay, but also to help me know what to expect. Like the other day we had one, and I knew this question was gonna be really hard for our students. So I was like, hey friends, go ahead and think about this part of what we're learning about. And since I had them have that in their mind, like brought up, they were able to solve it easier. But after we watch our visual learning, we then watch the same visual learning, but we also watch it in Spanish, because I have, out of my 20 kids, like 15 or so speak Spanish as their first language and are learning English. So some of them know more than others. So I decided to go ahead and implement these Spanish versions just so that they can still interact with our class and learn. So we watch the English version, then we watch the Spanish version. After that, we do a convince me problem, which is working on their critical thinking. They have to explain how they found an answer, which is, you know, first graders can hardly write, but we're making them write full-blown sentences and explain their thought process, which is kind of hard. So I always try to make sure I have extra support on that when I need it, with some additional support questions and that kind of thing. And our curriculum's really good at having those questions for you already written in. I think in one lesson it'll have like 20 extra questions written in that you could ask to help the students understand the questions easier or find those answers easier. And then after we do that, I do guided practice, which is I show them how to work out anywhere from 1 to 4 problems using the methods that we've just learned. And then the rest of it is independent practice. They work on it on their own. A lot of times on the independent practice, I'll look it over and I can tell straight away just by looking at it if this is something that's going to be completely independent, if it's going to be partner work, or if it's going to be this half of the class is going to go work on it independently, and this half is going to come back to my table a few at a time to just reteach a little bit those foundational skills that they need for that specific lesson. So yeah, that's kind of how math goes, and that's kind of how all of it goes. I know this was a very short video, but yeah, a lot of times it's really just me taking out that Padlet and those PowerPoints and the teacher book and just really seeing what do I need to teach for today. And I know this is taking me like 12 to 14 minutes to talk to you about, but honestly, it's something I've gotten to do really quickly. Usually I like to do it on Sunday night. Sometimes I don't have time, so I'll do it during planning or in the morning before class, which isn't the greatest because I've been getting there really late, so hasn't been happening. But I really like how my school has allowed us to do this, because it allows us to be able to just come in the mornings and just teach and not have to spend an hour before school preparing. So yeah, that's how I pretty much do my lesson plannings for first grade. Let me know how you guys plan your lessons, if it's similar to this, if you do team planning, if you do individual, all that kind of stuff. So thank you so much for watching. If you're not already, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all the content that will be coming soon, and I will catch y'all in the next video.